Meeting to order and ask to start this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can ask for consideration of approval of this morning's agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item I have is approval of minutes dated July 6, 2022.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item I have is approval of claims for payment dated July 13th, 2022.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item, I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the recommendation to the DNR on animal feeding operation construction permit application. Hardin Buckeye 3 site, section 3 of Buckeye Township. Got an email from County Sanitarian Environmental Health Director Jess Sheridan, and her recommendation was to approve. There could be a little hiccup with the measuring at some point, but that would be something that DNR would have to take care of on their end.
And they're doing a survey.
Right, and they're, yep, thanks, Brian.
All the questions were answered that were brought up or looked at. In most cases, most of those points they weren't asking for anyway.
Correct. Yeah, I watched the public hearing via YouTube, and I didn't have any other concerns or questions. It looked like everything had been taken care of and due diligence had been done.
Well, from there, I'll go ahead and move to acknowledge the DNR animal feed and operation construction permit application, Hardin Buckeye 3 site, section 3, Buckeye Township, be sent to the DNR.
Second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
The measuring distance, just put a note in there that we know they're surveying, but we just want to make sure it got surveyed.
Correct. And Brian Rutland from Pinnacle has acknowledged that the survey will be taking place. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It is 9:03 a.m. and I'm going to go ahead and yield to Attorney Meyer regarding the public hearing on county property for sale.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, let's take these one at a time. Probably start with the trail property to see if there are any objections to the proposal to convey that to the city of Radcliffe.
You want to open it up for?
Yep, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. So anyone wishing to speak about the conveyance of the land to the city of Radcliffe?
Maybe written. The phone calls.
Okay, Daryl, did you have anything to add to that then?
No, my recommendation then would be that we go ahead and you give me authority then when we come out of the public hearing, maybe like at next week's, I'll have a resolution then to convey that to Radcliffe.
And as the mayor of Radcliffe, do you want anything ahead? When's your next meeting, Taylor?
We decided Monday, so it won't be till early August.
Okay, was it, and you guys discussed this at your meeting?
I
so-
mentioned to them, they were
Okay.
fine with it.
All right, thank you.
Then maybe we can address the round barn and the farmland. I know we had some bids. We don't know what they were for which property. So maybe it's time to open those. And if there's any bids for the round barn, we deal with that
Okay.
next.
And as part of the process, we're just going to open the bids, make sure they're qualified at the minimum dollar amount. And then at 11 o'clock, we would have the public auction. that the starting bids for the farmland would begin at the minimum qualified bid of $6,500 an acre, correct?
Right, and for the round barn, there was no minimum bid requirement, so first question would be, do any of these bids relate to the barn? So let's go ahead and open
Okay.
them and see what,
So there are three, all three were in time, and all three are sealed. So I'm gonna start with first one. It is from Summit Agricultural Group in the bid amount of $6,500 an acre. And it does have a pre-approval for financing for the property. The second is a bid from Dean Bright. Opening bid of $6,500 per acre with a letter of credit from Greenbelt Bank and Trust. Second, or the third and final, is a bid from Polly Granzo with a bid of $6,510 an acre for the estimated 111 acres. So,
so those would all be qualified bidders at the 11 o'clock auction
Correct.
on the county farm land. So none of those related to the barn.
correct.
So without there being any bids on the barn, was I clearly, what do we do next with the barn? One option could be we could offer it to the city of Iowa Falls to see if they would just want it conveyed
Into
to
their
them.
name.
And if they were interested, I would say we put that on the agenda for next week, a resolution conveying that to them. If they're not, I would propose that we just hold an auction starting at 0 and see, we could hold the auction at the next meeting. Kind of like what we're doing today on an auction, but we just started at 0 and see what happens. Since we don't have any bids, we have nowhere to start with it. Just start at 0. That's what I would propose we do with the barn.
Makes sense to me.
So we could offer to Iowa Falls if they don't respond by next week, then the following week, we would just assume it's going to an auction at 0.
Yeah.
Starting at 0.
And you'll communicate with Mayor Emerson and Administrator Anderson and Attorney Niederhoff then?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So,
Did anybody have any comments on that?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if they were able to unmute.
There.
Okay. Any other explanation of anything else, Daryl?
Just see if there's, not on the barn, and we can go with the auction then on the county home farmland. If there's any public comment about that, because now would be the time for the public to speak up. Otherwise, we'll proceed with the auction at 11. And we'll start, the starting bid will be the bid by Polly Granzow at 6510. And what I'll do, my plan would be to open with that and then just go alphabetically. So the second bidder, I think the last name started with B. that bidder would get the chance to bid and then Summit and then back to Poly, then just kind of go through. They can each raise it or drop out. So that would be my plan at 11.
Do they drop out or can they just sit and wait and jump back in later?
I guess I don't care if they want to jump back in. I mean, I've seen that done at auctions
I
too,
do,
many
that's what I was
times where
asking.
they. On the website, there were the terms about the 10% down and letter credit. And since we were estimating the number of acres, we don't know exactly the ultimate purchase price, so we're just bidding on a per acre. We'll have to have it surveyed and we'll know exactly how many acres. So closing date's gonna be in the future. We don't have a specific closing date because surveying is gonna take a little time. And it's being rented out right now anyway, so they're taking subject to the current lease anyhow.
And
So,
we'll have to obtain an easement to get us to that back part.
right,
And also there's some trees back in the back corner. I would assume we're selling that with a tillable.
that, I think so too. I think we are. I think we're just carving out the wetland and the tower site and the cemetery,
In the acreage.
right?
With that, I can ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Before we go into that, I just make one point. At this time, Mom's a high bidder. I will abstain from
Okay.
anything if she is the high bidder.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Daryl. Daryl, I'll let you hold on to documentation. Thank you. All right, the next item I have for consideration is an application for use of the Hardin County Courthouse grounds for the Eldora Public Library. Library Director Rotoff presented. I'm out a little out of order, you know. They would like to do a story walk on between the dates of July 27th and August 2nd. Here on the courthouse grounds. We haven't had any issues with this in the past, and I would kindly ask for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item I have is consideration of a fireworks permit for July 30th, 2022. Applicant is Bruce Rastetter. The point of contact is Joe Sinclair. Fireworks show at 22051 230th Street. They've done this in the past, no issues. I would urge approving.
Motion approved.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, any discussion?
Going forward, looking at these fireworks permits, we'll get a recommendation whether we need to be doing these.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item I have is consideration of resolution 2218, amending resolution 2010-25 meal reimbursement when traveling on county business. At one of the last department head meetings, it was brought up by numerous department heads that the current amount with the rate of inflation and just how what things cost when attending conferences and educational trainings, that the dollar amount would be recommended to be increased. So it would go to $50 a day, so not $50 a meal, but breakfast, lunch, dinner for a sum of $50 with up to a 20% gratuity.
I
So
have concerns with the gratuity. It's hard for me to use tax dollars to pay as a tip, even though I realize that sometimes they're mandatory tips. But
I know other counties do it, or pay them.
would this $50 be including that 20%? Your $50 max be included to that 20%?
well, I see it both ways. I see that if I go to an ISAC conference and I go to dinner with 5 supervisors to even Applebee's, there's, I think it's party of 6 or greater, they tack on a gratuity either way. So I'm a willing participant in a discussion here of how you'd like to address that. Do we, reduce any reimbursement by any gratuities paid, or how would you like to address that? Like I said, I'm open to some fruitful discussions.
I just have a hard time giving any tips from the county. We're buying the meal. I mean, the choice is you can eat in a group, you can eat by yourself, you have choices. If you want to eat in group, yeah, you might have to pay the gratuity out of your own pocket. But my other question is this $50 plus the 20% or $50 max?
I think it's $50 plus up to 20%.
That's all.
So that would be, the total for the day would be $60 if somebody tipped the maximum gratuity. So
I could look at that as a $50 cap. Or I could look at it as that we don't pay the gratuity.
Renee,
I mean, I always tip, whether I'm in a group or individually. I'm not gonna complain either way. Whether it's 50, the 50 includes the 20%. I just don't really have, I mean, I've paid it, for however many years I've been here out of my own pocket, but it is. And I don't know that it would be as big of a deal with the elected officials, but when we're sending employees that are not, that are getting paid less, I would still hope that they would tip, and they would probably be more likely if it was covered by the county. So,
I'd be more likely to if I wasn't paying it.
well, I mean, I've waited tables, and I mean, there's a lot that goes into it sometimes with certain, with certain people you might get, but so I don't begrudge tipping at all.
I don't either. We tip out of our own pocket. What we do.
Well, I mean, I always do now, so that's why I don't know that I have that big of an opinion on it as far as whether I get reimbursed or not. But people that make less than I do, which I think most everybody makes more than we do. So,
yeah, and I'm with you, Renee, having worked in the service industry, a group of 6 or 8 can be more demanding than a single or a 2-top
Right.
table, but it can go either way. So Jolene, for accounting purposes, how would it play out if we said we're not paying? Because if 6 county auditors go to dinner, you automatically pay the 18-20% gratuity. What do you see the process looking like coming back? Would it be on our claims form, $22? And if the gratuity was $4, would you just withhold $4 from the reimbursement, or how do you see that working?
You're gonna have to bring the receipts, so let's walk through this. You're gonna have to bring the receipts. Say it's, $20 for whatever the meal, and then you had, the tip. If they're gonna pay it out of their pocket, they can cross that off. And then on their submission form, it's $20.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
how
that's what I
you,
do currently.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
you just
so everybody
submit
goes
it,
that
you're
way.
showing the tip out of your own.
How would you do it if it was a county credit card where it automatically took it? Let's say the bill came out to be 60, let's call it $72. And of that $72, so many dollars of it was automatically taken out and they used a company credit card. Then we would have to collect money from them as well, correct?
I usually tell them, I would tell them at
Pardon me?
I just write a check back to the county when that happens.
Right, so it would work either way if they were writing the check back for the tips as well.
See, and I tell them at the restaurant, don't include the tip on the
Yeah.
credit
But
card.
sometimes it's mandatory.
And I've never had it mandatory
No.
so far.
I mean, they'll charge you automatically, you know, if you've got a table of 6 or more. But you don't have to pay that tip with your credit card.
No, I mean, I'll tell them, here's the cash for the tip.
Yep.
And
Only charge that.
they just charge the difference.
So is there a proposal to strike out language in the proposed resolution?
I would strike the 20% gratuity.
Is that a motion?
I would make that motion to approve this resolution, striking out the 20%.
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Discussion, Renee.
Jolene, would it be possible to send out an email? Well, do you still have that auditor's website where you can go in and send questions?
Camp? Yeah.
Yeah. And ask how many counties cover gratuity and how many don't?
Yeah.
I mean, we can pass it without for now and see what the result is and.
Without gratuity? Okay. I think the next time this will really come to,
Because
Any
that way it's
commission
not a
would be-
change and then we
Right.
would be taking it away.
otherwise,
Something we would add later
Yeah.
possibly.
okay. Lance,
I made the motion.
okay, I'm just asking for additional discussion.
Like I say, other than that, you can put a $50 cap, including gratuity, but
And I'm not opposed to that either because it's not that much.
I just have the hard time giving tip dollars with county money.
What's our daily limit now?
Can't remember, I did bring the old one.
It's pretty low.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
So
think it's
jumping to 50 is quite a
35,
jump.
I think it's
Right. 35 for the day.
I remember prior to that, it used to be per meal.
Right,
Yes,
it was broken
Then
down.
we broke it down by the day.
yeah. It's just easier by the day. Than, you know,
Hearing no more discussion, roll call.
Lance,
I,
Renee,
I,
BJ,
Aye. Motion carries. Next item I have for consideration is a change to the Board of Supervisors meeting on Wednesday, August 24th to Tuesday, August 23rd due to ISAC conference.
I'll make that motion
I'll second it.
Any discussion
for this year.
for this year? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye, motion carries. Next I have for consideration is Auditor Peters' monthly report for the month of June.
make a motion to approve the auditor's report for the month of June.
No, I will second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item I have is Recorder's monthly report from Recorder Cadner for the month of June.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion?
She had a 1 cent adjustment.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Other business, Michael. Jolene. Attorney Meyer.
Pass.
Angela,
No, sir.
Taylor,
Sure, plan is still to start on the highway with Grundy line with Community County, that county line, so that's Monday. We're suspending working days for the trail. It's too wet to work underneath some of the bridges they still have south of town, so. Yep, we're just gonna wait till it gets a little drier.
Lance?
Nope.
Renee?
Nothing.
I just have one thing. I really want to give a pat on the back to the roadside vegetation management team. The spraying has been very effective and continued brush clearing and stuff is coming along well. Heard numerous compliments about it out at the fairgrounds. And so when you hear something positive like that, I think you and Paul need to have that brought to light. So with that being said, I can ask to recess until 11 a.m.
Motion to recess.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're recessed till 11 a.m.